Chapter 5 Isra. You were missed at the harvest feast last night. Junji hovers close to my side. I can smell the oil he uses to shape his mustache. Needle tells me his lip hair is as long as my hand, from palm to fingertip, and as big around as my thumb. I take her word as truth. The thought of asking permission to touch Junji's face makes me fidget with nerves. Of all my advisors, my chief is by far the most intimidating. I wasn't feeling well. I bring my 2 fingers to my forehead, faking the ghost of a headache I never had. Then you should have called for the healers, he says. Your health is too important to the city to take any chances, Isra. You know that. I know, I mumble, wishing I had arranged to meet the Monstrous and his guards in the field, instead of coming with the soldiers to fetch the beast. It has only been 3 weeks since I became queen, and already I grow tired of my newfound freedom. Each time I dare to set foot outside my tower, fretful, bossy old men shadow me at every move. Junji and the other advisors obviously prefer that until I am married. I pass my days alone in my bedroom, surrounded by mountains of pillows. I'm treated like a foolish child with bones made of glass, and I hate it. I long for my walks alone in the garden, for the velvet night sounds and the gentle light of the moon. I long for the time when my ugliness was the secret guarded by the father who loved me. Now, no one loves me, and my secret is a scandal that has set the entire city talking. I will have a healer appointed to the tower, Junji says. A woman, so that she may sleep here with you, and sleep there, in the tower, I ask, horrified by the thought of a stranger invading my last safe place. But where will we put her? Needle and I already share my bedroom. She can sleep in your dressing room. There's enough space beside the bath for a small cot, and she can keep her clean uniforms underneath. Please, Junji, I beg. I don't need a healer sleeping in my dressing room. I'm not an invalid. It was only a headache. The kingdom would sleep better knowing a healer is minutes from your side. The kingdom is safe. I'll call for someone next time I have the smallest ache or pain. I promise, I say, wishing Needle would hurry and get back with word from the Monstrous' cell and save me from Junji. The guards went to fetch the creature from the prisoner's floor of the infirmary nearly 20 minutes ago. What's taking so long? Very well, but people need assurances that you are in good health and fit to rule. It is time that you dined with the nobles at court, at least during special celebrations, Junji says, disapproval clear in his voice. I may be queen, but in his eyes I'm still the naughty little girl who threw paint on the king's best fur when she was 4 years old. You owe it to the city to honor its traditions. I know. I just couldn't. Not last night, I say. I'm sorry. When I was younger, I used to beg to be allowed to accompany Baba to the harvest banquet, but he always said no. It seemed wrong to go last night without his permission, without him. I'm not ready to face the court alone, and I don't see why I should have to. We're all in mourning. The entire city is grieving for the loss of their king. Needle tells me Yuan is painted with loss. Tables covered in red cloth, mirrors draped in white, and men with black scarves tied around their arms, and I myself wearing green, and only green until the first day of spring. It is a tradition for a child in mourning. I understand, Junji says, in a gentler tone, reminding me that there is a heart beneath his gruff exterior. But remember, you are not alone. I am here to support your rule. I served your father well for 20 years. I will serve you just as faithfully. Though not as long. He doesn't say the words, but I hear them lurking in the silence after he speaks. My mother went to the roses 13 years ago. The offerings are usually made no more than 30 years apart. In 10 years, or 17, if I'm lucky, and the city's magic holds strong. It will be my turn. If Baba had lived and remarried, things would have been different. But he's dead, and they aren't. The fact hangs round my neck like a stone, making it harder for me to pull myself from my pit of grief. The healing garden is my only bright spot in darkness. When the monstrous boy's father told Junji his son would be helpful in our gardens, I admit I was less than impressed. Our gardens do very well on their own, thank you very much. What captured my attention was his insistence his son knew how to grow and mix healing pouches, the monstrous used to ward off further mutation in their young. I did my best to conceal my curiosity from Junji, but I'm sure he guesses why I fought for a plot of land and the chance to help the monstrous create a new garden. For years, I've been certain there was no hope for me. But what if there was a way to reverse my mutation, or at least be certain the peeling flesh will never spread? For years, I've had nightmares about waking up to my face and neck as scaled as the rest of my body. Now I have hope that those nightmares might someday be a thing of the past. I could barely sleep last night. I was so eager to begin. And now, the beast is ruining the morning by being difficult. That must be what's keeping the guards. Unless the monster attacked them. Unless they are even now doing battle with it. If that's the case, I'll have the creature's claws cut out. I should have given the order yesterday when he dared to put his claws to my throat, but I was afraid Junji would find the guards asleep at their post and guess at the stupid, impulsive thing I'd done. If he finds out I was alone with the monstrous, in the name of that service, Junji continues, startling me from my thoughts, I've scheduled your coronation for week after next. My lips part. Week after next, but the plans are underway, he says, interrupting me again. It seems Baba was the only member of court who thought a blind girl deserved the right to finish her sentences. Out of respect for the violent nature of the king's death, the celebration will be subdued. Simply a short process and a ceremonial presentation of crown and scepter. Afterwards, you'll be taken to the dais to be cheered by the common people, and will conclude with a banquet in the afternoon, during which the members of court are able to present themselves personally. I bite my lip and nod my agreement, but I want to beg him to postpone for another month or more, but I know it would be no good. Once Junji has set something in motion, there is no stopping him. He is inexorable. It is one of the qualities my father's valued most in his chief advisor. I, however, have yet to acquire this appreciation for Junji's single-mindedness. Persuading my advisor to allow me to work in this new garden with the monstrous, even accompanied by 4 armed guards, took every bit of stubbornness I possess, and then some. If getting my way as ruler is always going to be so difficult, I'll have to choose my battles carefully, or spend the rest of my life in a state of perpetual exhaustion. Good girl, Junji says, his condescension leaving a sour taste in my mouth. I'm blind, not simple. 17, not 7. I'll send my word to the court dressmaker. There's no need. Needle will make my dress. I'm prepared to fight for Needle's right to ply her namesake. She'd be devastated to miss the chance to design my coronation gown, but I am saved from the battle by swift footsteps running down the path leading from the infirmary. I recognize the rhythm of the run as Needles even before one small, cool hand takes my wrist and the other begins to move beneath my palm, communicating in our secret language. The boy is hurt, Needle signs, her fingers trembling. What boy? The monstrous boy, she signs, proving that everyone, no matter how immense or terrifying, is a child in their eyes until proven otherwise. Needle is only 28, but you'd think she was 60 from the way she talks. The guards are forcing him to walk, but his legs are too weak. He's very pale. He'll faint if they don't take him back to bed. Yes, I would like something to drink, I say in a controlled voice, not wanting to arouse Genji's curiosity. He's too eager for an excuse to forbid me from taking the monstrous out of his cage. Would you care for some lemonade, Genji? I would enjoy that very much, Genji says, making my stomach clench. I'd expected him to be too busy to spare time for my imaginary refreshment. But I have many things to attend to. I'll make my apologies and then hope to share a drink with you this evening in the banquet hall. His none too subtle hint that I should not take dinner in my tower again tonight doesn't escape me, but I'm too grateful to learn he won't be tailing me inside to be bothered by it. With a nod and a softly murmured, "Good day," I loop my arm through Needles and allow her to guide me slowly up the walk. As soon as we are through the door, stepping into shadows that cool my flesh skin, she takes me by the hand and sets a much swifter pace. I follow her upstairs and stairs and more stairs, nearly as many as there are in my tower, until we reach the top floor, where the monstrous has been kept separate from the other ill and ailing. As we hurry down the hall, I expect to hear sounds of a struggle, growls and snarls, but there is only a harsh voice shouting, "Move, beast, on your feet!" and a muffled thud, followed by a moan, so piteous I understand immediately why Needle called the monster a boy. He sounds like a wounded child. For the first time, I wonder what the creature must be feeling, what it must be like to be abandoned by his family, to be held captive and pressed into slavery by the people he loathes, to be alone and hurt with no one who cares enough to insist he stays in bed long enough to heal. This is my fault. I told the guards to drag the monstrous from his bed if they had to. A wave of self-loathing rushes inside me, making my stomach lurch and my voice break when I order the guards to stop! Leave the monster be! I draw a deep breath, trying to compose myself, knowing the soldiers must be startled. One of you, go fetch the healers. The rest, give the beast some room. I squeeze Needle's arm as one pair of boots tromp down the hall, the guard thankfully obeying my order without question. I can't always trust the soldiers to do as I say, especially if Genji is close by. I may be the queen, but Genji is their true leader. Take me closer, I tell Needle. I don't need to add, but not too close. Needle is nothing if not protective of me. She nearly had a fit yesterday when I ordered her to help me meet with the monster in private. Where does it hurt? I ask the monstrous as Needle sets me on the stones near where he has fallen. Is it your legs? The monstrous doesn't say a word, not a word, for a long, strained moment. I only want to help you. I hesitate, realizing I have no idea what the monstrous calls himself. He has language. He must have a name. But in the 3 weeks since he has been captured, no one has bothered to ask it. What's your name? Gem, he says, forcing the word out with obvious difficulty. Isra, I offer before thinking better of it. A prisoner shouldn't call the queen by her first name, but for some reason that seems like a silly rule at the moment. I'm sorry, I didn't realize until you were still unwell. The monstrous makes a sound, a sigh or laugh. I can't tell which. Either way, the message is received. Sorry is a feeble word, and hardly sufficient when a person is brought to his knees by pain. I don't want you to suffer any more than you already have, I say, hoping he can tell I mean it. We'll postpone our work until you've fully recovered. What if I never fully recovered, he asks so softly that I know only Needle and I can hear him. What if I never walk again? You will walk. You can't know. No, I can't, I say, but I'll do everything in my power to make certain you do. He sighs again, a defeated sound, an alone sound. I wasn't always blind, I say, strangely compelled to convince him I understand his fears. There was a fire in my bedroom when I was 4 years old. My nightgown caught fire and my father threw me to the ground to put out the flames. I hit my head and the world went dark. It has stayed that way ever since. But you still see, he says beneath his breath, as if he knows my moment of sightedness in the garden is a secret, by the roses. Only sometimes, I whisper, and only since I was 10. My 10th birthday, to be exact, the last day I was knowingly allowed out of the tower. Before then, Bubba went to the garden every year on my birthday, but that was the first year he let me explore on my own. Let me feel my way around the edge of the ancient flower bed to the place the vines spill over one side. I pricked my finger by accident, and the sunlit world rushed up to me. The roses showed me the city from high above, all the flowers, and the green, green springtime grass, and every tall, white building gleaming in the moonlight. It was beautiful, breathtaking to a girl who had nearly forgotten the world of color and light. I would have stayed there forever, grateful tears streaming down my face, if my father hadn't pulled me away. As soon as he realized I was bleeding, Bubba carried me back to the tower, but the damage was already done. I knew the roses had more magic than anyone else realized. I knew they could be my eyes. I told Bubba, but he forbade me to speak of such mad things and refused to take me to the garden again. Months passed, but I didn't forget that shining moment. It took a year, but I found a way out, risking death, climbing over the edge of my balcony, rather than returning to the hopeless darkness. The loss of hope is the worst kind of loss. I don't want to be the cause of that in someone, even if that someone is a monster. I will help you recover, I say with an intensity that surprises me. I swear it. Thank you, Isra. My name is uncomfortable in his mouth, strange sounding in that accent of his, but there's something nice about it all the same. Something nice about Isra instead of my lady. Before I can assure him that there's no need to thank me, healers arrive. Needle pulls me to my feet, guiding me down the hall after Jem and the healers, fingers busy beneath my palm as she describes the scene. 2 male healers carry Jem back to his room, but there is a woman who runs her hand lightly over his legs, examining the monstrous with a gentleness that Needle approves of. How is he? I ask when the healer is finished. There is no bleeding on the inside, my lady, she says, but the muscles are still healing. But they will heal. He will be able to walk again, I ask, anxious for her answer. I don't see any reason why not, the healer says. He'll need a brace on the left leg and crutches for a time, but the muscles should mend. If I'd been notified he was to work today, I would have had the aids prepared. Her tone is nothing but deferential, but I feel chastised all the same. I'll consult with you before we try again, I say. How much time do you think he needs? A week? 2? He should begin exercising as soon as the leg is braced, she says. We don't have anything in his size ready-made, but the brace makers work quickly. I can have him fitted this afternoon and be able to work tomorrow, my lady. Brace makers. Surely Yuan doesn't have need of more than one brace maker to service the 1,000-odd souls under the dome. But then, maybe he'll turn ankles and break wrists more often than I assume. There's so much I don't know about my city, my people. What do you think, Jem? I ask. Will you be able to try again tomorrow? Does it matter, my lady? He asks, mimicking the healer's subservient tone perfectly. I get the strong feeling he's mocking me, and I scowl, but clench my jaw against the harsh words that tip at the tip of my tongue. He's hurting, and despite the fact that I didn't intend for him to suffer, that he is hurt is my fault. Yes, it matters, I say. Do you think you'll be ready? Anything to escape these white walls for a few hours, he says, but there's still something off in his voice. We can wait. I am eager to begin, but I don't want you to be in pain. That is kind of you, my lady, but I'm also eager to begin. There's a sneer beneath his words this time. I'm sure of it. The only thing I'm not sure of is whether he's wrong to think me contemptible. Yesterday, there was no doubt in my mind which one of us was the monster, but now, I'm the one who neglected to ask his name. I'm the one who insisted he be pulled from bed without consulting the healers to make sure he was fit for work. I'm the one who has treated him like an animal when I know that he has language, at least a certain degree of intelligence. The thoughts make me feel sour inside. They make me wish I could have a moment alone with Jem, to speak frankly. I want him to know that I understand what it's like to be prisoner, that I know what it's like to walk a road I didn't choose, to a destination I fear, and that I will do my best to make his life in Yuan tolerable. But the guards and the healers would never knowingly leave me alone with a monstrous, and it doesn't matter anyways. I am Jem's jailer and his enemy. Why should he feel anything for me but contempt? He shouldn't, and I shouldn't care one way or another. Tomorrow then, I say, taking Needle's arm and allowing her to lead me from the room. I have enough misery to bear. There is no need to take the hatred of the beast to heart. But as I walk away, I can't help remembering Jem's cry in the hall, how desperate and human he sounded, and how much something inside me wanted to protect him from the soldiers, from Yuan, and from me. Jem. The healer gives me more bitter water to drink, and the agony in my leg fades to a distant ache. My eyes grow heavy, but I fight the muddying of my thoughts. I don't want to sleep. I want to lie here and stare at the white wall until my mind is as soft as wind-swept sand. Then I will bury my hate deep beneath it, so deep that not even an outline can be spied from the surface. The queen may be blind, but she saw through me. I have to try harder. She was kind today, open in a way that she hasn't been before. She even confirmed my suspicion that the rose's magic gave her the power to see for that moment in the garden. I should have welcomed her confidence. I should have shared a story of my own. I should have done something to begin the long journey to earning her trust. Instead, I mocked her. I mocked her because the worry in her eyes hurt me more than my leg, because her promise to help me made me hate her more than I did before. It is too late for kindness. No amount of kindness can change who she is or what her people have done to mine. Her moment of compassion only proved she's worse than I first assumed. To be cold and incapable of pity is one thing. To have compassion and use it only when it's convenient is nothing less than evil. I hate her so much my body aches with it, but I hate myself more. I hate that I felt even a moment of pity for that little girl with her nightgown on fire, or for the queen whose guards roll their eyes before obeying her commands. No warrior of my tribe would ever treat his chief with such a lack of respect, but the soldiers clearly feel no need to conceal their disdain from the blind queen or her silent attendant, or from the monster whimpering on the floor. They should be more careful. Everything I see and hear is my weapon. Everything. From their disdain, to the way the silent woman's finger moves with words, to the flash of guilt in the queen's eyes. Isra's eyes, I correct myself aloud. Isra. I practice saying her name again and again, until it sounds the way it did when she said it, until I sound like a smooth skin, until I fall asleep with her name on my lips and dream of sand. Thick, warm sand, rising up my thighs, trapping my chest, spilling into my nose and mouth, burying me alive.